if you could elaborate on mind-to-mind transmission.
Well, let me elaborate to this extent. I didn't believe a word of it. I thought it was all hoop. And I confronted a teacher, a very smart teacher, an American trained teacher who had studied in China and Japan. And, this guy was not a slouch by any stretch of the imagination. But I confronted him publicly. I said, "Sir," using the proper, tone of voice, etc., "how would you explain mind-to-mind transmission to a neuroscientist?" And he looks at me, and he looks at me and he goes, "Well, I'm not sure that I'd try," or something along those lines, or maybe that was his facial expression. And so then I said, "Well, how can that happen? How is it even possible? How do you do it? I mean, what's the theory? There's nothing in psychology that says that any of this is possible." And then he said, "Well, what's missing is the central core, the most essential element, and that it's transmitted through love, on love, as a kind of a frequency." And I thought, well, that's nuts ish. I respected the guy too much to think he was just crazy. And then I was at an initiation or ceremony or something. I was just going to see the Dalai Lama, but it was a big, big ceremony. And what they were doing was initiating us in green Tara in preparation for, I don't know what, but they made us swear. And I did this, and I didn't know what it meant at the time. And that really bothers me because I don't do things like that. But I thought, the Dalai Lama, these guys are Buddhists. All right, I'll just go along with the program. It's just words. And the prayer was the Bodhisattva prayer. But then in a couple of days or something like that, there was a ceremony, and what they were doing, it was clear, even though I didn't know anything, that something was going on, because they spent a couple of days preparing with all these gorgeous, gorgeous, and incredibly powerful Tibetan rituals and the chanting. I mean, I don't know how many lamas there were, but there were enough to fill up the place with these gorgeous Tibetan chants. So these are contaminating factors. Then he goes into this thing, and he's really going off, but it's all in Tibetan, right? And the next thing you know, his eyes are crossed, and then of course this is, I guess, my projection, but his eyes uncross, and he's looking at me directly. That's how I feel. And then his eyes cross again, and he's going back into this altered state, which has taken him quite a while to get into. And I'm thinking, well, this must be mind-to-mind transmission. And I'm going to go, oh man, I better open my mind and be receptive. And I do my best, right? Nothing happens. So I go, well, so much for that, onward. But I didn't give up. And then the weird thing was that, I would guess that within 2 weeks, I woke up. Now, I've been preparing, I've been studying, working hard and I had other things I can attribute it to that I won't describe here. And nobody should think that, oh, if you want to wake up, all you have to do is go see the Dalai Lama and touch his hem, or have him bless your scarf or something like that. Have him bless your mala, which is nice. I mean, I like it. But to learn from him is really and to learn everything. So the things that I learned, I didn't learn much verbally. It's not my language, not my culture at the time, but what I did learn was what it was like to be in the presence of a highly evolved human being. And that anybody can feel. I mean, the whole hotel was just glowing. And yeah, that's why I recommend it so much to everybody. If you can get the Dalai Lama in a venue of less than, I don't know, 500 people, which can be done, I highly recommend it, because there's something that man has that can't be denied by anybody, including scientists. I mean, including hardcore atheist scientists that don't believe in any of this crap. You've got to experience it first and then decide. So I don't know the answer to that, but that's the way all of this works ultimately. And that's true in science as well as theology, philosophy, and everything else. Now, the truth part, the mechanism part, that's debatable. You got the beautiful Naqshbandi technique among the Sufis, the Nundro and Dzogchen in the Tibetan Buddhists. You have Zen in further east. And you have these techniques that have been developed literally more than 1,000 years, some of them, and they're still here and they're still working. So to ignore those because we're Americans, we are the ones who know science. We're the ones who know the mind. We've got psychologists and we studied Freud. It's just so arrogant, so American, and it breaks my heart. But anyway, so that's what I wanted to say about that for now. I hope that's helpful.